This project is a free indoor wear sale pass, and we'll be using these fabrics, the low density foam. I will also be using a tape that we're going to use to close all the edges of this project together. And then the one material we're going to be using that is very important is the cementing glue. The gum, we're going to be using a chloroprene chemical gum to bond everything together. Because we're working on fabric, we're going to be using a chloroprene gum to bond it together. And the tools, for the tools we're going to be using for this project, we're going to be using a mold, shoe mold. Shoe mold is what is going to give our project to shape and size, and this is the same shoe mold that we're going to be using to cut this pattern of this project out. So okay, we're going to use it to cut the base of this project, and also use it to cut the upper of this project out. So after this is cut out, we then use the paper representation of this pattern. We're going to use it to cut our fabric and our low density board out. Of the pattern, getting the material out is going to be quite easy. So it's just the pattern that we just get to use to cut the material out. This is going to avert we wasting the material. So it's the exact thing that we got to need is what we're going to be cutting out right now with the pattern. So at the time it's the pattern has been tested, as I said, you can decide at the absence of the shoe last, you can get to use your foot. If you were making this for yourself, you can get to use your foot to just demonstrate and check the balancing of this. You can use your foot to check the leather, the pattern, make the pattern. But if you're making for somebody and that person is not close to you, then you need a shoe mold of that same person's foot size to make this out. So at the time this pattern is set, you use the pattern to cut the fabric, the low density, but you use it to cut it out. And the next thing is then cement all these things all around. Once it is all cemented, then cement it with the fabric. Cementing with the fabric is a bit technical, because you at that point you get to be very careful the way you apply your gum on it for it not to penetrate, knowing that the fabrics is the gum is in a liquid form, and then the fabric will absorb gum very fast. Then you apply the gum on it lightly. Once you apply it, you then bound all the two together with the both face of the low density foam covered up. It's being cemented. The next thing that is meant to do right now is then arrange it all around together. Arranging this all around together, you then need to place the tips first. Tape the tip with an 1 inch. With the tape using here is an 1 inch tape. Can be any length. The end length that's going to cover the whole thing all around. That's what we use it. So it can be fabric tape, and it can be a leather tape. If it's going to be a leather tape, you have it on a leather and cut a stripe, a parallel straight line line out to take the edges, close it up right in there. So once you use a cementing glue, must be first applied to it, while the taping will then go on it, so it can hold for you to stitch easily. Without the cementing glue, it might not be so easy to stitch. So once this has been applied to it, then you then move on to the machine to top stitch this right now. You can also, it's going to be stitched straight. At the absence of the machine, you can get to use your hand needle to stitch it all round. But if you can lay your hands on a domestic machine and an industrial machine, it's gonna be quite easy for you to stitch. So at the time the gum has been dried, so we get to then come and stick it around with the help of the shoe mold. The shoe mold is going to guide to form it to shape and size, as I said earlier. So what is next is to then drop it all around the edges and clip it down. Make sure it's properly cleared down, and then there's going to be excess all around it. This excess is then what we're going to trim out. Now we're going to trim all the excess out. So we trim all the excess out to then move forward to where we're going to be folding all the edges round with the same tape that was used to fold, to tape the edges of the hopper. We're going to use it to tape all this project all round. Same thing, you can decide to use your machine. I can decide not to use your machine for it if you have an hand needle and an hand stitching and you are comfortable with the hand stitching. Why not? You can use it to clip all 8 round. So at the time we've done this, we'll move to the machine to do that right now. So stitching it right now, it's quite easy. You can see, I'm going to first tape it around and then use the machine to drop it all around. Stitch it all around. Hope you can see it. It's quite easy. You can, as I said, the only thing mechanical you're using the machine you use is just the stitching machine, and which you can improvise and use your hand needle to stitch all around. So that hope you like what you've seen. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. Don't just watch it, don't share with your friends, and click on the notification bell just for you to be updated on our when we have another such awesome videos like this on the platform. Sunday Oyewale, and look forward to see you in our subsequent upload.